We are satisfied. And we're live.
Oh, we're live? Welcome, guys, back to the weekly poll convergence / incursion / all new Comics Explained event. I am Benny, the comic historian, and today I've got no comics to show you. I'm just gonna show off that I have a Majora's Mask new 3DS XL and make you all cry. Ha 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 ha! That thing was amazing to get. I'm Benny, the comic historian. That is Rob, the Marvel / DC / comics / you name it, he'll talk about it explained guy. And that is Sal, the TV Little House. And today, due to our incursion, we are merging with England and we are having a battle with the channel known as ItsSuprEffective. Everyone welcome Faust to the show.
Hey. I'm always the only one to clap. I'm like, yay! There we go. Thank you.
What do you want from me?
Anyway.
All right, so like we normally do with the podcast, we want to open up. We're going to give you an opening so you can talk about your channel. We're going to give you an ending so you can talk about your channel, Faust. Just so everyone knows, Faust is a part of the Weekly Poll website. He has his own section, his own forum. We did tell him that the forum's alive 3 days late, but he knows about it now, so we're good. And other than that, Faust, why don't you tell about your channel? You'll let everyone know.
Hi, I suck at promoting this, but my name is Faust. I run the channel at ItsSuprEffective. I do comic book history and comic book news and explain stuff about the comic book universe, and sometimes I'm called Budget Comic Book Girl 19, and other times I'm not called that.
Budget comic
Budget
book girl.
comic book.
Budget comic book girl 19.
You need to explain that one
You
to me.
have similar hair.
Right?
I will say that.
Yeah, you got to explain that.
It was literally just a comment the other day, and I was like, I like that.
Take that. It's going on the site.
I'm Budget Comic Book Girl 19. So yeah, guys, he does the same thing that the rest of us do. We explain comic books. We talk about comic books. He goes more in the direction of like NerdSync and Eris, where he's got his on-camera persona and he presents it in a better. Sal tries to do that too, but we all know Sal's just trying. Oh no, you know I love you, Sal. So we were talking about this beforehand, guys. We don't have very many big topics to talk about, so we actually were talking about pre-show about Faust's hair.
Yes.
So, Faust, can you explain to us how you constantly change your hair and why you constantly change the hair of ItsSuprEffective?
I constantly change my hair because I get bored very easily, and hair dye is cheap. But no, when I started YouTube, my hair was a wig because my hair was damaged from changing it too much. And then I dyed it to red and blue because I really liked the Suicide Squad at the time.
Always a good reason.
I had this weird sort of week where I really wanted to be like have Harley Quinn's hair, so I bought the wig of her pigtails. I was like, I don't really wear this out, so I dyed my hair like that. And then I got bored of that eventually and decided I'm gonna go silver, and then I cut it all, and now here we are.
Sweet.
There's the story of Faust's hair.
That is the story of Faust.
Well, guys, we'll see you next time right here.
Yeah, great show, everybody.
It's a life-changing story that I want them to make a documentary about. That will be
Faust's
played. It will be called Faust's Hair, the hair story.
You know
Well,
what?
my
You know what?
question is, who
we
would
can
play your
do
hair?
you one better.
Who
We can
play
do
your
one
hair?
better.
Chris Evans would play my hair
Naturally.
with Madonna as me.
Nice.
I say
a
the
weird
YouTube
combo.
Avengers make a series of videos on your hair. Benny can do Faust's hair, the complete story. Sal can do like Faust's hair, like off the scalp, I guess,
Yeah,
or
off the
something.
scalp.
Off the scalp. I can already see how I would dramatically read that too. I could be like, and then Faust decided he needed to dye his hair, and it was a sad day when he dyed it blue and red. But that was only the temporary until he cut it.
Has some like dramatic music, like piano music in the background.
I could have like the really sad piano music that I use like when somebody dies in a comic book.
Or if the Hulk is hitchhiking. Yeah.
Oh man.
The sad hitchhiking music. So, okay, I think we've talked enough about the hair, but there is another topic we did want to talk about. And that is with DC's Convergence, and we have a few costumes coming across the board. But this year seems to be, in my opinion, the year of comic book costume changes. We have a new Spider-Woman. We have Silken, I think her 4th costume since being created 6
like
months
8
ago.
months ago.
Yeah. She's
She
not gonna
had
be running around
webbing,
in
and then
webbing
she
anymore.
had like a skin tight outfit. Then she had her white and black. Now it's like a black and red. And I don't know.
Now, I actually enjoyed her white outfit. The white and
One bit of
white-
webs.
Yeah. No. The one that she was wearing during Spider-Verse. That one I
I was
thought
gonna
was
say,
actually
Rob
pretty
likes the
cool.
one where she's naked.
No, that's creepy.
But the reason we wanted to talk about Faust about this is Faust is a obviously humongous fan of Starfire. He is a fan. Anybody who watches the videos knows this. And I tweeted Faust the newest image of Starfire, and his response was, "Oh no, not that stupid Forever 21 stuff."
He was just seething.
I may be paraphrasing. There may have been some cussing, some swears in there. He might have then direct messaged me a novel as to why he hates it. I don't know. So the question is, Faust, why do you dislike them putting clothing on Starfire? Because that's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, because before, all of her costumes you could see in like London Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week, Milan Fashion Week. All of her costumes were very clearly based off of high fashion models. Like even in just pick up an issue of Vogue Italia, you can very much clearly see that those swimsuit designs in Vogue Italia are kind of like what Starfire was wearing, and now looks like she's dressed like she's gone shopping with her dad's credit card, and she's like, "Oh my god, I've got my dad's credit card, and Starbucks is tasty." Like that's not Starfire.
Fair.
Wow.
That's good call. I mean, like, it seems that it's just part of the New 52 youngification of characters where, like, I mean, when Starfire was initially created for the Teen Titans and kind of like as a love interest for Robin, I mean, wasn't she created, I mean, Faust, you were talking about this earlier, how she was kind of created as, like, a sex symbol kind of character.
She was literally created for sex because Mark Wolfman and George Perez wanted to sort of experiment with the idea of teenagers having sex. Because let's be honest, very few people wait until they're 18.
No. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait, they don't?
This is the United States, man. Like here in the
I wish
States,
I'd
man,
known
people live in
that.
sin all the time. It's crazy.
Man, I'm so far behind.
Yeah.
And the Starfire was specifically created because she was sexy and she knew it, and she could kind of play with Robin on it. And
Oh god.
They-
I'm sexy
Right,
and I
But
know
then,
it.
like, as it
And
went
I
on,
could see that. I mean, I remember watching your video about Starfire, and initially she was created for that, and she wasn't aware. Like, the whole idea of why she was half naked is it didn't mean the same thing on her planet.
right.
What? I'm sorry. And that was their excuse. Well, we can make her butt naked, and she doesn't know what she's doing because her people don't treat it that way. You know?
Yeah. That's based on a culture I made up. That is, like, yeah.
I've
Race
completely
I've never
invented
seen.
this culture, and by the way, in my culture, the men are all enormously buff dudes, and the women are all stark naked walking around.
Yeah.
No one says anything about it. It's normal.
Yep. We have commitmentless sex, and it's just totally awesome. I found that, like, but it's interesting because as Starfire became more ingrained in the DC universe and more in the pop culture angle of it, like they tried to make her more like young and kid-like, especially with the Teen Titans cartoon. Like she became like the antithesis of her initial creation. Like she was pure, but she was innocent and sexless. Like she had no understanding whatsoever of sexuality, it seemed. And-
Wasn't there a few episodes where like other characters were attracted to her or like wanting to try and like, oh, I want to go date Starfire? I mean, in the kid way. It wasn't like,
Right, like,
I want to go bone Starfire.
it could have been a very different show.
I want to go play video games with her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, but even as in their like I would assume the Teen Titans in the like Cartoon Network, not Teen Titans Go, but the one right before that, which I guess is just called Teen Titans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just called Teen Titans.
Just the Teen Titans cartoon, whatever age they were at, I'm assuming they were like 16, 15. In that kind of like, you know, I notice girls or I notice I find people attractive, and so I don't even know what I'm doing with this body, but I want to express it in some way, you know. So with that,
That's how you discovered things when you were younger, Sal? I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what this is happening. What am I gonna do? Yeah, I'm just so uncomfortable in this shell. Internet. Thank God for that. No, we didn't have.
Oh God.
I mean, we
That's
kind
a
of had
discussion
the
for another day,
internet,
but I did see
Yeah,
research
later.
that apparently most kids now are learning about everything, like sexuality and everything, from the internet. I saw an
Oh, no
article.
question.
Oh God, that's the worst place to learn about that.
Really? Is
stuff.
it? Is it really? Is the internet
Yes.
really the worst place to learn about sex, or is it worse to learn it from peers who don't know anything?
The internet's the worst place to
I
learn.
think it's the internet.
I learned
Really?
from buddies.
Fair enough. All right.
Here's what you do, and
I
no, it's
lose.
wrong. I'm just saying that right now. I mean, I got some funny stories that I can't say on the podcast, but
Well, then that'll be post podcast discussion because I want to hear
Yeah.
that. I want to hear those stories.
they are not safe for work.
But-
I don't know where this conversation goes.
Okay.
But anyway, back to the topic on hand. So she was made for sexuality, and now they're giving her more clothes.
Yes.
And he said, and your reason is you feel like she stole her dad's credit card to go out and get the outfit.
Right.
But don't you feel like after 20 years or so, it's time to change up some of these costumes? I mean, Batgirl's a great example. Now she's all hipster and wearing Doc Martens and.
I
It's
feel
just
like
weird.
I feel like sort of every character has almost a job that they were made specifically to do, and it's kind of how we justify creating a new character or using an old character in a title. Every character has a job, and part of the job of Starfire's design was to almost be high fashion. Like costumes are a big thing for me. Costume is half a character for me. And to take that aspect away from Starfire is to take half of what I loved about Starfire away. So for me, it's sort of for me to see like her like that in the comics is sort of like, who is this character? I always justified it by the Teen Titans cartoon because that wasn't Starfire. That was an archetype with the name Starfire. At the end of the day, that's what the Teen Titans cartoon was.
So okay, so when you first watched that show, number one, you must have been really jazzed that they were making a Teen Titans show, but then not getting the Starfire that was your Starfire. Did
Yeah.
you eventually reconcile that, or was it just something where you were like, all right, well, I'm going to watch not Starfire and Amazing Friends. Here we go.
I always just kind of saw it as they were archetypes that were made to sort of make the Teen Titans card, because I was still fairly young when that came out, but I'd already read most of the Teen Titans, and my parents had no limit. I was like 3 or 4 when I first watched Beetlejuice, so I don't know. I just always saw it as they just didn't do the characters from the comics because they weren't kid friendly, and they wanted the cartoon to be kid friendly, and the comics weren't made for the audience that they made the show for, which at the end of the day raises the question, why adapt the comics when they clearly didn't want to adapt the comics? But that's a whole other thing.
Oh, I mean, they're just going for recognizable characters. I mean, all honesty, I mean, the Flash is pretty close, but Arrow. I mean, I know you mentioned before this that you don't like watching Arrow and Flash. Half our audience just like unsubscribed from your channel. So,
It's okay. My audience know I don't like it.
but Arrow. I mean, Flash is pretty close to the comic. They've done a couple tweaks in here and there, but Arrow is completely separate from it. But it's the same concept of, everyone knows Green Arrow from back in the day, and they all remember him from Smallville. He was the cool guy in the hoodie, so let's make a dark and brooding Batman version.
That's not, by the way, the same character, right? They didn't tie it in with...
No. I know initially, when the initial discussion started, supposedly that was where they were going with it. Like, they were, I don't know if this is rumor or not, when Arrow first started, they were in talks with that guy to just continue the role.
No.
And just continue the show.
That's cool.
But then everyone was like, well, we don't want Smallville again, and you can't get away from that if you take over the whole same cast and everything.
Yeah. Interesting.
But anyway, yeah, just like the Teen Titans show, I mean, that's why they, in my opinion, they do it, because they're going for recognizable characters.
Yeah.
I mean, why else would the New 52 launch with all your same superheroes in a totally different manner?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, they changed all
Superman
their
is nothing like
outfits.
Superman.
I feel like at least with this costume change, and while it might not represent what Starfire used to represent or what she should represent now, at least they're thinking about it, as opposed to, for me, like the New 52 relaunch when it first started and they had the new costume changes where they all had the same, I mean, they still do, like with their little collars and their little piping and their, underwearless, and it was just kind of like okay, well, just make them all the same, like make them all uniform. And I think, what was it? I think that giving Jim Lee and or George Perez the keys to the family car with costume design was kind of like a mistake, because they're going to draw things that they feel comfortable with, which is not necessarily good for like the iconography of these characters. Like, I don't know. Just felt like the New 52 redesign was kind of like draw the like everything just feels like, well, since Flashpoint they were like, oh, we gotta get all our ducks in a row, and also we're redesigning all the costumes, so make sure that happens too. Like at least now they're like, okay, like with the Batgirl redesign, sure, it's a 35-year-old dressed like a 14-year-old. If they just had taken a freaking minute and said, hey, let's make Barbara Gordon 19, and just say that that's how it is now because Flashpoint. People will buy it because they buy everything. But at least, even though they didn't do that, at least they had the time to go like, okay, like let's actually change the costume in kind of an interesting and meaningful way. I mean, like, I'm one of the few people who really likes that Barbara Gordon costume. I think it's weird for a 35-year-old to dress like that.
Right, that's my complaint with it. Like. Yeah. And I mean, I actually like the new costume myself for Barbara Gordon, and I know you're gonna hate me, Faust, but I actually like the Starfire costume. I feel it's kind of time to update her.
I also will argue that I kind of dig the new Starfire costume too, but then again, I love anything Amanda Connor draws, so I could be biased. It could, if you give it to somebody else, I'm sure it'll look like garbage. That said, I'm looking at the creative team for Starfire #1, and it's Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti writing it. And I'm not the biggest fan of what they're doing with Harley Quinn, so.
Well,
I would kind of agree because I loved Harley Quinn when it started. I really, really loved it, and for like the past 2 months, I've just kind of been. I liked the Christmas special, but then the actual Christmas one, I was just a bit like the actual December-ish one. I was like,
yeah,
okay. And then January's one again, I was just kind of like, yeah,
right.
that happened.
I mean, not to get too far off topic, but the reason because I agree with you on that, Faust, with the Harley Quinn. The problem I have with Harley Quinn is she has some crazy adventures like the Power Girl one, and they're awesome, or she goes and does Harley Quinn-esque things, and then it just feels like they're trying to interject real life. Oh, and now she has to go get the rent and go hang out with her friends and go work at this job at a roller derby, and I don't care about any of that. Just go team her up with another superhero and let her be Harley Quinn. Like.
Now, wouldn't it be cool if they did that with the character? Since, like, I feel like DC kind of doesn't really know what to do with Harley Quinn, but they do they're just like, we'll do whatever and give it to Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. They know what they're doing. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of just make her into a team-up character? Like, just make it a Harley Quinn book, but every issue it's like Harley. It's like what Batman and Robin became after. Batman died, and it was like they teamed up different different characters. Like it was Batman and Catwoman, and Batman and Two-Face, and Batman and Robin, and that kind of thing.
Like I'd actually love to see that, and especially because Harley Quinn, you could have so much fun with the designs. Like Harley Quinn and Red Robin, what would her Red Robin costume be? Or Harley Quinn and Wonder Girl, would she wear the old Wonder Girl costume? Like,
well, I kind of wonder if the Harley Quinn Power Girl comic is going to be like that. Like, I mean, unless they're going to, because I don't know what they're going to do, because I've been following Earth 2 and all that other stuff, and Harley Quinn, I mean, Power Girl is pretty much on the way out the door. They've pretty much just crapped on every aspect of the character. They've given her some cool background. They've given her some cool history with her Earth 2. She's wearing the shield of Superman now. Oh. But, like, I feel like we've gone as far as we're going to go with this character at this point. Like, this is it. Like, you've hit your peak. Now you can die.
Yeah, well, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to kill her, though.
Well, technically they already have, because in Future's End, she's, like, her brain's been taken over by Brother Eye, and she's dead.
Yeah, but everyone's brain's been taken over by Brother Eye. Like, we know that's not going to happen.
No, not in the Future's End, like, Future Story. I'm talking, like, the one that ties directly in with World's End.
Okay.
And that one, she's been taken over.
As you can tell, I'm not reading Earth 2.
To be fair, we don't exactly know where Harley Quinn is set, because 1 month it's not in Earth 2, then it is in Earth 2, but then Power Girl's there, but it's still not in Earth 2, so whatever happens to Power Girl doesn't really affect our Harley Quinn book.
That's fair.
No, you're right. But what I'm saying is, like, the Power Girl one, I just don't know what she could do with Harley Quinn at this point. They're all getting these weird redesigns. She got a Superman shield, which is just funny. But, Harley Quinn's got a new costume every other week, it looks like. Like, I personally think it's funny when she just, like, it seems like she has 3 costumes per issue, Yeah. Harley Quinn now is in her roller derby outfit. Now she's in her I am super smart and hanging out at my giant apartment building outfit. Oh, and now here's her adventuring outfit. Right. And they have established where Harley Quinn is. She's not in Gotham. Did you read the Valentine's Day issue?
No.
Didn't they establish that in the first issue? Isn't she in Rhode Island?
She's in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, like, they've established, okay, not so much that it's not in Gotham, but that it's still in main continuity. Because in the Valentine's Day issue, Batman shows up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Valentine's Day issue is they get in a weird having to go on a date situation. It's hilarious. Read it if you haven't.
Okay.
I've been putting off reading it because
It's good.
So disappointed with the last few ones.
That particular one is good because Batman shows up and they get stuck having to date. Not going to spoil what happens, but we do establish it's still in continuity. He explains that towards the end.
Cool.
Okay. I have to admit the Harley Quinn specials are all really good. Like the Harley Quinn Christmas special where she blows up that dude's car. That was hilarious.
So yeah, okay. I mean, costume design. So how do you feel about the various changes that are going on in the Marvel universe? I don't know how familiar you are with the Marvel universe. I know the rest of us are, but like Spider-Woman's getting a complete redesign after like 30 years of skin tightness.
Well, they've changed her every once in a while, but this is like, oh no, okay. In lieu of changing Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman costume, they just invented a new Spider-Woman. So this is the first time they've actually changed her costume.
That's what I was going to say. No, they haven't, Sal. She's been in that same skin-tight outfit
since 76 or whatever, yeah.
I like for Spider-Woman with me, first off, no one's really feeling her new title because it's Spider-Woman. You're supposed to have her in like these weird adventures, and she is not having that. But I don't know. I'm liking the idea of a new costume, but then my favorite Spider-Woman run, or my favorite Spider-Woman, is Mattie Franklin, where she had a new costume every fucking issue.
Yeah. Oh man, Mattie Franklin, that's taking me back.
Well, in defense of the Spider-Woman comic, and I've said this before, I think they gave it a rough start. This next issue is going to be the official start of Spider-Woman. These first 4 issues were just nothing but Spider-Verse tie-ins, which is horrible because it says Spider-Woman #1. By the way, did you read all this other crap? Because if you didn't, you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, you don't have no idea. Oh, also it's drawn by Greg Land, so all right.
Also, we have the infamous cover that was drawn from a naked woman. All right.
That was.
I mean, I don't understand why they did that. Like, I don't understand. Not the chick who was posing, or I guess drawn from a naked picture. I don't understand why they decided to launch Spider-Woman #1 tied into Spider-Verse. Maybe to be like, well, I mean, people are going to buy this, so they're going to have to go and buy the rest of Spider-Verse. No, sir. Spider-Verse, I think, was absolute garbage. I hated Spider-Verse, and so I'm not going to go. And if I were a Spider-Woman fan, I'm not going to go out and say, well, I mean, I really want to check out like Jessica Drew's solo series. So, I'm going to go buy all of Spider-Verse. No, that's not going to happen.
Sales, that's exactly what it is. If you look at the top grossing books of the last 5 months, it has been in the top 3 Spider-Verse. So
yeah, progressively dropping off.
Well, why do you think they continue the team up thing? Because I totally have a feeling that Spider-Verse team up book wasn't supposed to continue.
No,
because after the first 2 issues where there was actually good stories that wrapped into everything, the follow-ons were just like, oh, hey, check it out, it's a punk Spider-Man. You thought he was cool in the book, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if they wanted to just do a Spider-Verse tie-in for Spider-Woman, why didn't they create a title called Spider-Woman and have Silk, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Woman all going off on their own adventures in one title? And once that was done, it all spins off into their own individual titles.
Such a good idea.
No, and I agree with you. And that's what I was wondering. Because, like, I've just read the end of the other Spider-Woman, and it says that. Like, she's like, oh, I'm getting a new costume. It's time for a change. And it's funny because Carol Danvers is like, really? You're going to finally start dressing appropriately for your age? Spider-Woman was like, this coming from the girl whose butt was hanging out for like 20 years?
I'll tell you exactly why they did that, by the way. And it was just, for them, it was, we're going to look at the numbers and like, okay, number 1, Spider-Verse is selling like hotcakes. Number 2, it's a direct tie-in to Spider-Verse, and if you looked at the sales, like, the Spider-Verse tie-ins were selling really well. And so as a result, if they make Spider-Verse #1 directly tied in with Spider-Verse, and it's not like coming off the heels of it, it's happening in the thick of it, then you have a really strong selling Spider-Woman #1. And you can point to it and say, like, this sold really well. And you never mind that it was just literally a chapter 5.2 in the ongoing Spider-Verse story. But, objectively, you can look back like 6 months and go like, Spider-Verse 1 sold 60,000 copies, and that's why they did that.
That doesn't count. All right, you can't.
No, but that's why they did it. It's just that, like, they are salesmen. Like that's they're just
Well,
trying
let's see. That's skewing the result. Okay, you can't start a lemonade stand and then park it outside of Disneyland and say, "Hey guys, look how awesome it is to sell lemonade." Like selling lemonade makes you a bunch of money. No, selling lemonade at Disneyland makes you a bunch of money.
No,
Like-
but if you sell your lemonade for like $1 less outside Disneyland, you will sell your lemonade.
No,
I think
here's the
part
problem.
of. Go ahead, Rob.
Here's the problem. Spider-Woman #1 sold well because it was part of Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to know what was going on with the Master Weaver, you had to get Spider-Woman. Like you had to read the Spider-Woman stories if you want to know what's going on with the Master Weaver. Like why is all this happening and what's this guy been manipulating, whatever. All right.
Yeah.
If you really want to see whether or not Spider-Woman is going to be a good selling title, wait till Spider-Verse is totally over. Give it like a month after and then just see what happens. And I guarantee you it's going to tank entirely because nobody cares about Spider-Woman. There's a reason why they canceled her before.
That's why they're changing her costume now.
Yeah, no, they're actually giving it a legit thing. Personally, I feel like Marvel and DC, I mean, we've already discussed event fatigue. Events are burning us out. Nobody wants to read them. Yeah. So I think that they've caught on having 12 to 15 issue events just doesn't function. But I think when it came to like, what's his name? The guy who does it, Dan Slott.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I need to tell this story, but I need to get more in there. But Marvel's telling me to make it 6 issues.
Right.
So I think the answer was, we'll front load it into Spider-Woman and this other book called Scarlet Spiders. There, I have a 12-issue story arc, but
right. But he didn't write those. Like they had to give them to different creative teams. So he didn't even get to tell that story. Like that's not a story he wanted to tell. I think it was just they were like, oh man, that first issue sold crazy. We could probably tie the shit out of it. Just like Spider Island. Like Spider Island was great, but like. There were like 5 unnecessary tie-ins with that.
Or it could be like Civil War, where there's like 46 unnecessary tie-ins.
Oh God, man! So you know what? After doing Civil War, after explaining Civil War over like 20 videos, for those of you guys out there in the chat who are like, I want to start reading Civil War, you need the Civil War main story and you need Civil War Frontline, and that's it. And maybe Cable and Deadpool if you really want to.
You don't need that. You don't need Frontline.
I would argue you don't even need Frontline.
I thought Frontline added a richer story to Civil War.
It did, but they didn't work together. So it's like Jenkins and Miller are telling 2 different stories about 2 different groups of people.
Not really, because you got Ben Reilly there when like when was it Ragnarok, when the robot Thor shows up and like kills Goliath. I mean, like he's there. He's like, oh my God, everything's popping off and it's total pandemonium. There are some things that kind of don't make sense though, where they're like Tony Stark's making a bunch of money off Damage Control Inc. and like Ben Urich and or not, I think I said Ben Reilly before. Ben Urich and
Ben Urich and
Ben Urich and Peter Parker are the ones that figure out what was going on, and then it's like, okay, well, I mean, what happened with this? And they're like, nothing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And he's still the bad guy, even though he's not the bad guy.
They're going to talk about Civil War now for the next hour. So what are you up to?
No, that's the problem I think with like Marvel events. Like Marvel events are fun. Like Marvel events are cool. But I think you're kind of right, because I was thinking about this a little while ago. I think you're kind of right when you guys say that they have totally unnecessary tie-ins, because like 65%, I might even say 80% of Civil War was unnecessary. Who cares? That, I mean, well, why in God's name did they need to make a comic? This was literally how they brought Heroes for Hire back. Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and Hank Pym said, let's go to Heroes for Hire, the newest one led by Misty Knight, and say, you guys need to go find Captain America. Captain America managed to single-handedly evade an entire SHIELD helicarrier, like, dispatch SHIELD soldiers, hold off the entire combination of Tony Stark's Avengers, yet somehow Heroes for Hire is going to be able to track him down and bring him in. Like that's those kind of things are unnecessary.
Or hire.
Yeah.
And they weren't even important. Like the only one who even mattered was like Black Cat. And she was like that was it.
Like, I have to say, my favorite part of Civil War was probably the most irrelevant part of the whole thing, which was the Runaways and the Young Avengers part.
The Runaways.
I got into that way later, and I was like sad that I missed their involvement with the Marvel Universe proper. Like after reading, like I think I read the first volume of Runaways, and I read Children's Crusade, and I'm like, yeah, these are cool. What happened to them?
See, I still distinctly remember the Young Avengers coming out because I was kind of falling out of love with the Teen Titans at that time. And then the Young Avengers came out. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, this is what the Teen Titans should be doing. And then they did it.
Yeah.
So let's go to another topic that we actually haven't touched on in the last couple of weeks, and I think this is a very good one for Faust to touch on with us here. The TNT announcement of the Teen Titans live-action TV show.
Yeah.
Okay, so the announced cast for this is going to be Dick Grayson, aka Robin Nightwing, Barbara Gordon as the former Batgirl. So they're putting her in as the. That's what it's flagged as in this article.
I know. No, I'm just saying, like, how are you gonna make that work? You can't.
Yeah,
do that, man.
They were going to bring in Hawk and Dove, which.
Finally.
Wait. Here's what I want to know. In this, apparently, it's gonna be Hank Hall and Dawn, and they're romantically involved. Now, I'm not a huge Hawk and Dove fan, but isn't it pretty much like Dove, like 20 years younger than him, and he always kind of protects her from everything I've seen?
It depends on what version you're talking about. Are you talking about the Rob Liefeld version, or are you talking about like the old version, like pre-New 52, or like sometimes they're romantically involved. Sometimes Dove's a girl.
No, that's Dawn Granger. Dawn Granger's the second Dove.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, wouldn't it be more interesting to make them like men?
The two dudes.
Yeah, like, wouldn't that be more interesting to see? I don't know. I always just assumed that Hawk and Dove were together anyway. I didn't realize that, like.
Well, I think that's what everyone's assumption was, and that's why the writers went to the two female team. But then I think that this exact same rumors continued. Well, now instead of two gay men, it's two lesbians.
Right, and they're like, no one's gay in the book, and it's like,
I was like,
cares, man?
Crap! Mix the teams. Mix the teams.
Then okay, great. Now it's like everything else. Good job.
And then we also have Raven and Starfire is going to be live action. Will she be orange?
I hope so.
No, I don't think she'll be orange.
Person possible.
I don't think she'll be orange. I think if she does, she'll just have like an orange spray-on tan.
Yeah, she'll be tan.
Yeah,
if cosplayers can pull off her being orange and make it look good, a fucking TV show can.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Think so.
You'd think so, but I don't think some of these TV shows have the budget of cosplayers.
No way that they're gonna do. Well,
To be fair, that one of the main reasons I hate the Flash TV show is that fucking Flash costume.
What's wrong with the Flash costume?
No one's going to run
Man.
at the speed of light and leather. He's not going to be the fastest man alive. He's going to be the most chafed man alive.
He's chasing like a madman.
His bollocks will be hiding in his stomach.
It's not technically leather. It's some kind of weird flame retardant material that they created.
Yeah.
That looks like leather.
That looks a lot like leather. And probably feels like it too.
And it looks and feels like red leather. So since Faust made this lovely face at it, was this the first time you heard about the live action show? Please don't tell me.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
So we haven't touched on this at all. And the rumor is that it's going to be set in the same universe as Arrow and Flash, which means it'll just... You didn't know about that?
So it'll be ultra American. Enjoy.
Yes.
So basically, just like Supergirl, well, it's going to be in the universe but slightly removed. So is the Teen Titans show. So how do you feel about having everyone in red leather?
They will be.
Just put the heroes in spandex. If it looks good on cosplayers, it will look good on TV.
True.
Stop being so ashamed of the fact that it's a comic book and stop trying to make it all dark and gritty and everyone's in leather. Have fun with it, which they won't do because they clearly they look at comic books and say, these are no fun, let's make it dark and gritty. But in every adaptation, other than the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What blows my mind about Arrow is he has a leather hoodie.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever worn a leather, like even close to leather material on a hoodie, but you can't hear or see anything.
Yeah.
It's like a tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's
Back in
great
the
if you
day,
got
dude, I had one of
blackface
those.
If you would like to see what your beloved DC characters would look like if they were not in or if they were in spandex and on television, you need only YouTube the Justice League live-action pilot and watch your beloved characters like Fire and Ice and Captain Atom and the Flash in their spandex costumes with a TV budget. The TV budget, of course, is like Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, but wow, Like,
To be fair,
I have to disagree. The leather costumes I'm not against, and I'm telling you right now, if this is the actual cast they're bringing in there, you're gonna have Nightwing in leather. That's gonna be a given.
I mean, no
It's gonna be-
question. It's just,
So is Barbara Gordon if she's in the Batgirl. It's gonna be the leather outfit. Hawk and Dove will be in some weird costumes. Maybe it won't be leather, but I'm telling you right now, Starfire will be wearing the Forever 21 outfit in leather.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to make her like wearing a bikini. Parents groups, and that's the problem, Faust. You have to understand. Everything that we make, everything on this side of the pond is dictated by parents groups. You see, irate mothers who haven't had sex in like 25 years, they determine everything that you see on television. And if it doesn't have that lovely Nathan Fillion in it, then they're really going to bring the hammer down. So if they have if they have Starfire in like a bikini or in a high fashion Italian swimwear outfit, and she's fighting crime in it, these Midwestern moms are gonna lose their shit. And
don't these Midwestern moms, aren't they like against comics in general? Aren't they?
Well, they don't even know, like they knew that they were like that's something that children read. And so, like, they can't. Number one, like, let me tell you something. Really quick.
Sal's on go, Sal, go.
Yes,
We're sitting
rant,
on this
rant,
side.
Sal.
I was in when I was in grad school. I was talking to I don't know what the hell the context was, but like we were talking about culture or something like that. And one of the girls in the class said something like, "She's like, I met somebody who reads comic books." And I keep everything when I'm working with like when I'm working with teachers, when I'm in a school environment that I don't interact with people, I do not go like, oh, I love comics, because I know that's just gonna pigeonhole me, and it's a mess. So I just keep quiet. And she was talking about how she knew this guy who reads comic books now in their mid-20s. She's like, so isn't he like a pedophile? That was the immediate assumption she made. And when she said this out loud, our professor was like, not no, which is the answer. But like, what you said was kind of ignorant, but at the same time, it's a grown man reading comic books. So there is something wrong with him, was the cultural mindset in my liberal arts college. Not the one I went to for my bachelor's, but later on. I would actually leave that school eventually. But like the point here is, like the American cultural mindset, at least, and I'm sure you guys have closed-minded jackasses who don't appreciate comics or pop culture in general. But there's a stigma that has existed since, I would say, Corruption of the Innocent, like that book that was written by that crazy person in the 50s. There's a book written by like a preacher, I think, or some jackass in the 1950s, and he like wrote about how like comic books and like B movies are like encouraging our children to masturbate and be in gangs.
The Comics Code Authority.
Well, the Comics Code Authority came a little later, and those people, that's, by the way, same people who don't want your Starfire to wear that outfit. They were like a board of people who like said, this can go in and this can't, which is hilarious because like we could have Zaz, a man who killed people and then carved the like number of women or people that he killed into his flesh. That was okay. But Starfire can't dress like that, because that's weird.
Well, I mean, I just did a video about Daredevil and Black Widow, like their love story. And the same thing Comics Code Authority said, you cannot acknowledge that they are together.
Right.
They can live together. They can sidekick together. They can do everything together. But you cannot acknowledge an actual relationship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was part of the Comics Code Authority. Like, at no point, like, it was like the Comics Code Authority was like, hey guys, here's like this antiquated ass mindset that we have from way back then, and let's just keep it that way. So, like, you can hold hands.
Yeah. Like, well,
and
they
that
just.
was it.
And comics were like,
Faust,
your
dude.
facial expressions are the best,
Faust,
man.
Okay. Faust.
I'm voting. Hold on. I'm voting that from this point forward on the weekly poll, we have Faust on every episode, and all he is just a face on the camera, just reacting to everything.
Just reacting to everything. Okay, Faust. So here's the deal. So way back in the day, and I think it was either in the 1950s when it happened, 1960s maybe. But the Comics Code Authority, like it came along the line.
The Comics Code, but.
Oh, well, if you don't know about Comics Code, then don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
I thought you know about it.
I'm still getting over, like, I knew all about the Comics Code, but I didn't think that carried over till today.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
in England, In
Well,
England, we're just so accepting that 14-year-olds are gonna fuck.
No, man.
That is
funny,
that is
because
categorically unacceptable here. That is
we're in a day and age where we have one of the highest grossing television shows on MTV is Teen Mom or Teen Pregnancies or whatever, you know, or Honey Boo Boo. But oh my God forbid a grown man enjoys reading comic books.
Oh my
you know,
God.
it's only within the last 10 years since comic books have become like popular thanks to movies that it's even becoming more acceptable.
Oh.
It's still kind of a joke to this day. Like I was talking to someone like a year ago when I first started doing the comic book stuff, and they're like, hey, I need you to know if you can. I was working like part time at some other job. I just got out of the military and I'm still kind of trying to do things. Long story short, but I was working part time there, and I'm like, I can't do it Thursdays because that's my comic book day where I go and record stuff for my channel and stuff like that. This is when we were first launching, and they thought I meant, oh, I just go around and dick around and have fun and you know. Like, and I'm just that weird guy, and like, and I found this out because like a month later, they're like, "Hey, can you work this Thursday?" And I was like, "No, I have to go to the comic book day where I go do the recordings and stuff." And they're like, "But do you really need to go buy comic books? Like, really? Like that's your reaction?"
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny to me. I think when you look at like the culture, like American culture, looking at the idea of comic books, because it's like, I mean, is it really that weird? Like, is it really all that strange? Like America just made a movie about a guy that beats the shit out of a chick that made $90 million over the course of a weekend. Like, is it really that strange that like we're looking at comic books like that doesn't advocate that kind of stuff? But I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I think the problem that you have is a lot of people, for some reason or another, just aren't willing to like accept the fact that like they're badass. And comic books have great stories that get tied into them, like great concepts that get tied into them, and you can do a lot with the idea of a comic book, or even reflect culture wherever it is that comic book is being written out of. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, like, you're not going to see Starfire in that outfit. You're going to see.
This entire discussion.
Like, she's going to be in that. In that.
You just had a 10-minute.
No.
You basically just had 10 minutes of Sal cramping on Faust's hopes and dreams.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The fact that she's in it at all is astounding to me, because I can imagine them going down the list. Why is Beast Boy not on that? Because he turns into freaking animals, and that costs the Nero. So like the fact is, you can imagine them being like, okay, pitch me Teen Titans, or just or Titans. I don't know if they're gonna be teens, but pitch me Titans. And like, okay, Robin, great. That's a kid in an outfit with a cape. Done. That saves us boatloads of cash. Like Arrow, but little. Done. Because that's what a TV producer is like. Because TV and movies, I don't know if you know this, but like, and let me be more condescending, but like, no, with TV and movies, you need to be able to pitch your whole idea in 15 seconds, and usually what they do and what their cultural conversation is thing you know plus thing you know equals thing I'm explaining. So for them, they're like, okay, Nightwing, who's that? Older Robin. Okay, that's great. So it's like Batman, but like without all the Batman. Terrific. That saves us money.
Batman without Batman.
That's exactly what like they refer to him as that, like in the in the Grayson solo run.
Who else is there? Like Raven? Okay. What's Raven? Raven is a girl emo. Okay, done. Emo. Great. What powers does she have? She blends into shadow and she can teleport. No, that's camera trickery. Bye.
Shades of Teen Titans. That's what the audience is suggesting we create. Let's do that, guys.
Yeah. No.
Like, we didn't talk about Raven's costume, but I'm like 90% sure it will be like a leather sort of leotard kind of thing with a leather cape.
I don't even think it'll be a
it's going to be from the
costume.
Scott LaBelle run about where she was pretty much full body.
Yeah.
And she had this weird like feather thing over her head.
Oh my god, if they do that, I'm gonna kill them.
That would be worst costume. Oh, we're going to keep her hoodie, but it's feathers because she's Raven. Get it?
Yeah. No, you know what? She will dress like a the Craft goth chick. So it's totally culturally ignorant, and she'll wear a necklace with a bird or a feather on it, and that will be the Raven reference. And then finally you pitch Starfire, and you're like, okay, who's Starfire? She's an alien. Oh, okay, like a Star Trek alien where we could just put ridges on her forehead. She's orange. How about black? Because that's TV, and then like, okay, well, what's her power? She can fly, and she shoots energy beams. Oh my god, what? And she dresses like an Italian swimsuit model. Yeah, she's not going to be in the show. I'm sorry. She can have like a cameo.
But then they say,
Crazy.
but she has boobs.
Yeah, but she has boobs, and
I thought Faust is going to be our Teen Titan ranter. Sal's going nuts over
Yeah,
here.
Sal's going ham.
that's just because I hate TV.
I don't know. I mean, it's I don't.
See, the reason I'm not saying much is because I've had this weird perception of American TV, because the only American TV I really watch is Community, RuPaul's Drag Race, and
Oh,
You like Community? Well, Community is a fantastic show.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
sorry to say, it's like watched by 8 people here,
yeah.
and that's why it's on Yahoo now.
Oh, is it? Is it going
Community
on?
got freaking canceled.
Well, I know it got canceled. I didn't know it was on Yahoo.
No, Yahoo picked it up. It's going to be season 6 comes out in this year, I guess, and it's going to be really cool because Donald Glover's coming back.
No, if you want to know about like American TV, like sit down and watch like what is it, the Secret Housewives of Los Angeles or whatever the hell that is, or something like that, or like Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Right.
Like that is American. Like that's what a majority
pretty
of
much-
Americans
okay.
watch.
I can
American
imagine.
TV is mostly ruled by like CW crap. Like it's like that style where it's like it's gothic and supernaturally and but at the same time they're all gonna have love interests and we're all gonna say some trendy cool things to fit in with everyone and
Yeah.
Well,
I
they're
mean,
like,
every show follows that format, including Arrow and Flash.
yeah.
so a bit like what Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Thank God.
started back up. It started up back in the 90s, and then it died and needed to stay fucking dead.
yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
not, and then just keep.
Like Buffy
Well,
and-
CW is that channel. Like that's that's what they make. like,
Yeah.
like how can we make? Okay, I see your idea for a grim and gritty show about an angst-ridden superhero who just wants to clean up the streets. But how can we make it more like the Gilmore Girls?
You know what's funny? The funniest thing ever though is like it's because they're doing it in Flash all the time. Like it's the same thing. I've always had this argument with Buffy, and they always like, oh, we make these cool and trendy conversations. I have never like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the random coffee shop and have a 20-minute conversation about some random nerdy stuff that makes no goddamn sense at all, and like
Yeah.
it's straight out of the TV show. And like they were like, oh, we like the Quentin Tarantino discussions. Have you ever sat around at a restaurant and argued about the tipping and the values
yeah,
behind
man.
it?
Yes, I
Reservoir
have.
Dogs.
I thought like
Reservoir
a
Dogs,
character
dude.
for a long time.
That is the greatest. Okay, to totally sidetrack off of comic books, the entire like Harvey Keitel, like all those guys need to get back together again for just like that 5 minutes. And
do it again?
And just do it again. Like Steve Buscemi needs to sit there, or they could update it. And Steve Buscemi, well, no, because they all died. And
They all died.
in
No,
Reservoir
spoilers
Dogs.
for a 30-year-old movie, but
Spoilers, dude. Okay, so you really couldn't like update it, but they need to all come back and
Well,
just like reenact that scene again.
that would be great.
That'd be amazing.
Based on the comments. Okay, Faust, you watched Community. Have you seen Big Bang Theory?
I have, and I hate it.
Yes, good.
Okay.
Big
So
Bang
then-
Theory is bad for you.
You know what's funny though? Because my wife is French, like I said, so she's European, and she hates all those shows too. She can't stand any of them. I have to watch them with like headphones on in the corner of the house. Like I'm watching Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory is bad for you. They're laughing at us.
I
Yeah,
know,
that's-
it's just
That
great.
laugh track
I'm
is at
doing
you.
it.
That's not a laugh track for us. We don't think that that's hilarious. That's the popular culture. That's like people who, were really upset about Deflategate laughing at us. Okay, that's what Big Bang Theory is. That laugh track is just our entire high school careers. Like F Big Bang.
That's what it is, man. Like I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, and we said Sheldon is not a nerd.
It's hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah, like Sheldon is what people think nerds are like.
Yeah.
Like, that's like Sheldon is a reflection of what people think nerds are, and like
And,
just sit
like-
around and like make nerdy references about physics and stuff. Because who gives a shit about how fast you
Not
travel
only
through a
that,
black hole and so on?
That guy, the main character, what's his name? I watched this
Leonard.
season of that show. What's his name?
Leonard.
Leonard.
Oh, okay.
Leonard is like that self-loathing. I wish I were cool, and I wish I could be accepted by popular people who have no personality. Like, makes me so angry. I hate that show.
Well,
You should watch the show. By the way, their YouTube has a great thing where they just remove the laugh track, and it just kills the show.
Really?
Like,
It deadens the where they're just like, Sheldon, I want to touch girl. Like what's his name? Koothrappali being like, I want to sexually harass women. And then the long pause, and then everyone being like, oh, whatever your name is, guy.
It totally kills the show.
Oh, Indian stereotype, lol.
like that's why I got really angry at this season of King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds is another one.
No, it kind of sounds just like.
By the way, I've watched them all because apparently I'm an addict for hate.
Well, season 1 wasn't bad. It wasn't
One
bad.
to watch.
Season 2 and season 3 have just been offensive.
They're
Just
so offensive.
So offensive.
And the comic book guy they got, every comic book guy they get is a disaster. But like that huge dude, I can't remember his name, and thank God for that, because like I won't lose some precious moment that I had in my mind from like when I was a child, because I won't remember that kid's name. But like that guy from the most recent episode of King of the Nerds, F that guy. He does not represent us. He is not us.
No.
He is not comics.
Well, the problem with things like Big Bang Theory, King of the Nerds, stuff like that is, and I agree with you, they are mocking the culture of geekdom and all this other stuff. But it also, because of stuff like that and the Marvel movies and stuff like that has brought geekdom to the forefront. It's made it cool, you know? It's cool to be a guy that wants to go read comics and stuff now. Because 10 years ago, we were the guy that was self-loathing and, oh man, I can't tell anyone that I like to play Magic the Gathering on the weekends.
Oh, shit. Yeah, man. You can walk into high school and tell everybody that you love Magic the Gathering, like, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Dude, not today. Not today, man.
Not today, man.
There are Magic clubs. I work in high schools. Let me tell you, they like... It actually blew my mind. I went on a tour of the high school that I work in the district I work at, and there was what I would consider to be, based on my cultural mindset, a jock. And he was giving the tour, and he's like, "Yeah, so you could join like the the football team if you want, or you could join like the Magic the Gathering club, which is really awesome, and like you could go join up with the color guard. They're pretty baller." And I'm like, and just this complete weird meshing of where no one hated anybody, and I'm like, are you all like on something? Like, if they fighting something for the duct work? Like, it was so bizarre, but wonderful. I was like, this is great. I'm sure it's completely not.
I wish I could go back to high school nowadays.
Oh God, man!
Like, you want to be in high school in this world today?
Yeah.
To be fair, this is just temporary. I mean, this is like what the 70s
I know. That's what I'm saying now.
The 80s.
I'm not saying I want to go back to high school 10 years from now. No, right now, while it's valid.
Yeah. I mean, like, no, but at the same time, like, I'm sure being a nerd is cool. Like, like that. I love this. There's a meme of a chick with black rimmed glasses, and she has the word nerd on her palm. Like, I love that meme, but I would love to see it with like a guy as well, just like to see because both of them are phonies. But this whole like, I'm such a nerd, I saw the new Star Trek movie, and you're like,
no.
But the second you start like launching into like, did you know like Larfleeze and the Red Lanterns, and they're gonna be like, whoa.
Oh, did you see that, by the way? Everyone's calling you a Red Lantern in the comments.
I am a Red Lantern. me and what's his name, Dexter.
You have Dexter at the house?
Yeah, well, I got 3 cats, so I'm totally all about Dexter.
One of them can be Dexter. We got this.
It's cool. I'm part of the Indigo tribe, one of the 2 parasitic ones. Yeah.
What does that leave me and Rob to be? I don't want to be green. Those guys are lame.
You're yellow.
I'll be John Stewart. There we go.
Yeah.
I'll be the
John Stewart.
Yeah, I'll be the black green. I mean, I'm black. Why not be the black green lantern guy?
John Stewart, man, you're Guy Gardner.
Guy guard.
But with the record, and maybe you guys can answer me this, because I know Faust reads DC and stuff. Since when are they trying to make Guy Gardner cool again? Because I just watched the Lego Justice League movie where they go to Bizarro World.
Yeah.
And they have Guy Gardner in there, and I'm like,
that's bizarre.
And even my wife was like, "Why did they pick Guy Gardner?" Like,
because they think if they just believe really hard.
You know what? Nostalgia. That's why. Because like people remember and like Guy Gardner, even though Guy Gardner was never cool. He had the lamest haircut ever, and he wore like a leather jacket like a poser. And like every time you saw Guy Gardner, he was like, "I'm gonna kick ass," and you're like, "Shut up, Guy Gardner!" Like, you know, Batman punched you one time and you were out on your ass for like a week. So shut the hell up, Guy Gardner. Like, I don't know why, but I never, like, Guy Gardner will never redeem himself in my eyes. Like, Guy Gardner is the guy who, like, thought he was going to kick Doomsday's ass and instead was, like, beaten by, like, a stiff breeze. His silly mushroom cut.
Well, the problem with Guy Gardner is that Guy Gardner originally was a Green Lantern, and then he did the whole Yellow Lantern thing before Yellow Lanterns were cool.
Well, no, he had Sinestro's ring.
Yeah, and then he was the Warrior. Oh!
Like the wrestler?
No, you don't know the point where he discovered he had alien DNA in his genes and he had the ability to morph his limbs into weaponry.
I missed that part.
And now he's a Red Lantern, and he's okay as a Red Lantern.
I like the idea of Guy Gardner being a Red Lantern, but I wish they'd skipped all the crap and just gone from him being like, I'm a Green Lantern, and the Guardians being like, get the hell out of here, Guy Gardner, and then him getting like Sinestro's ring and being like, I'm still a badass, and then having everyone go, get the hell out of here, Guy Gardner, having him go like, oh, screw this, I hate everybody, and then the Red Lantern's going, hey, Guy Gardner, you look like you're a member of our team, and he's like, yeah, F everybody, I'm gonna be angry all the time. I'm totally down for that. I like that change.
I've always said if I ever got a chance to like write for like Green Lantern comics and do something based off the Wizard of Oz, where it was just something, it was just someone looking for the ultimate ring, and they have to throw water on the evil witch.
So,
but no,
this podcast has gone everywhere.
It has gone everywhere. But no, like it's going back to the whole comic book culture thing. Like it amazes me, like looking back, because like in high school, like when I was in high school, you know, you couldn't be the guy who was like, hey, I'm into comics, and I'm sure like you know you guys ran into the same circumstance, but then all of a sudden we're here, and then like we're combining the whole YouTube comic book community into one big thing. So like it's funny to me that people take that stance, and then it's also funny like when you look then and then you look now, and like Sal was saying, like there's really no concept. Like, well, I mean, you got like the Avengers film, which is huge, and Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, which is huge, and you got like comic book Heritage, which is huge, and in truth it's the movies that made it acceptable. You know, I agree with you guys on that it's the movies that made it cool to be interested in comics. But you guys are also right in the sense that it is the movies based on characters. And like those characters are the cool ones to talk about. Like you could talk about Wolverine all day long. Yeah, man, Wolverine this and Wolverine that, and Tony Stark. Yeah, man, he's awesome, you know. But then, like you said, when you went to some obscure character, like, hey, man, did you guys know about Blue Marvel? It's like, dude, man, like get that nerdiness the hell out of here, man.
Back up, man.
Well, you can't go too obscure. And that's the fine line we all cross. And I know Faust has done some really obscure characters on his channel because I've seen some of the videos where I was like, who is this?
And by the way, being
I'm the comic historian, and I'm like, who is this? What's
the only English comic YouTuber and the only English comic YouTuber who will dare talk about like these characters.
It's just because my mindset is like, obviously due to the nature of our channel, like we do admit like there are fake geeks out there, and we are going to attract them. But then I always say if they're going to go and watch the more obscure characters, they're putting in some extra effort. So there might be something that you can kind of tap into, and like when everything fades, we can just kind of make them a geek forever.
And I should say, like, that's a great message, and I really like that you kind of like, hey, if you're here just because you like Batman, maybe you might also be interested in this. It's the concept of like having like Spider-Man in your Night Watch book. Like, hey, if you don't know who this character is, you might come because you read this guy. But I don't know. I shouldn't. I didn't mean to imply, like rage against fake geeks, because while I resent, like I love Batman, I'm such a nerd, lol. Like I think that's lame, but I like anybody who is willing to participate in something that I enjoy and like communicate on some personal level is cool and good for them. And like so I appreciate that. And so I don't appreciate ignorance and closed-mindedness, but like anybody who's a geek, fake or otherwise, is welcome in my community. I think that's the way it's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that's how I look. I mean, that's why when I do things, I touch. I mean, I throw in the obscure guys once in a while, but I touch on all the big stuff because.
Oh yeah, well, because that's what's people want to know about that.
For me,
of course they do.
Yeah, people want to read that shit.
For me, I like just intentionally don't do the big stuff because there's already a lot of histories of Deadpools out there. You don't need another one.
No, it's true.
Although I will say this, I am officially doing the origin of Batman because I don't think anybody's actually like everyone knows it, but no one's actually got like we all know his parents freaking died. What happened between then?
Yeah,
he didn't just put a Batman cape on the next day and be like, "I'm Batman!" Woo!
No, so are you just gonna do like Batman Year One? Like,
no, I'm doing the actual origins as retold in the New 52, which basically ties it into the whole Red Hood gang. So.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that's 0 year, man. You can cover 0 year.
No, I'm not touching that.
You're not doing 0 year?
No, I'm not doing 0 year.
No, so I do want to ask you this. I'm going through your videos. I'm trying to find the most obscure one that I can see that you touched on, Faust. I just want to know your mindset on it. So it's either got to be Flex Metallo or Pixie. Because
See, I would say it's probably Bet Kane.
Where is it?
Bet Kane. It was back when I was wearing the wig, so it's towards
Towards
early.
Way back there.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
like
Quentin Queer, the Kid Omega.
Quentin
Choir?
Quire.
Oh,
yeah.
Choir, yeah.
Choir.
Okay. That's a mispronunciation and a half.
I'm guessing you don't read much X-Men.
Yeah, dude,
No,
Quentin-
I hated the whole Wolverine and the X-Men school run, and I like X-Men. My favorite book in X-Men right now is the all new X-Men because we got the originals back. I'm not a fan of like Kid Apocalypse and this is a weird guy from another planet. And
I like the idea of Wolverine and the X-Men.
See, I loved Wolverine and the X-Men because my favorite X-Men run is the new X-Men from like back in 2003.
Whoa, yeah.
So like that, I don't know. I've got a thing about teams, and so Wolverine and the X-Men is right up my street. And then
Yeah.
the new X-Men introduced. I think it had. Was that Grant Morrison's run that introduced Kid Omega, or was it
I
the
think it
new X-Men?
was. Was
Yeah,
that
I think it was his.
Was that
Yeah.
during
That was
the,
Grant Morrison's run.
the Zorn era?
oh my god,
Yeah.
here's this demigod powerful kid who's insane, and then like Emma Frost walks in and she's like, hey Cyclops, I know Jean Grey's kind of here but she's kind of not here, so like let's mentally bang. And he's like, okay, we can
Mentally
kind
bang.
of. And then Jean Grey's like, oh my god, what are you doing, you're psychically having sex, like you're cheating on me. And he's like, it's not what it looks like.
No, it's totally what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like.
I'm totally banging this way more
Oh my
interesting
God.
version of you.
New X-Men. I read New X-Men, Austin. It was
Well, going through, I see that you covered
was
Madoka
rough.
Magica. I actually watched that. That's really good.
Yeah, I loved Madoka Magica.
Oh
Wait.
man, I watched the whole series.
Now we're going to weird, obscure stuff right here.
I have no idea what's going on right now. Like I don't know what
Yeah,
you guys
Tiffany,
are
Anime.
Tiffany is,
Oh,
is
okay.
our indie and anime girl on our channel, and she also, main contributor.
Let me tell you something. Like my experience with anime is extended to like Dragon Ball Z, and that's it.
That's
That's about as deep as it goes.
Let me tell you something. That Madoka Magica Girl show was kind of really cool. I'm just gonna toss that out there.
Kind of really cool.
Well, because like when I was a kid, I watched Sailor Moon, and I'll say that because it's cool to be a geek, right, guys? But like, no,
It's still not cool for guys
It's
to
like,
like, Sailor
okay,
Moon. I
you're-
don't think we crossed that line.
no,
yet.
you're 12. You're 12 years old. It's 5 in the morning
Wait,
for the bus. You have to kill like 30 minutes before your mom gets up, and you turn on the TV, and the only thing on is Sailor Moon.
Okay, but here's your only redemption. Which one was your favorite character on that?
Jupiter.
No, mine was Tuxedo Mask. When I had
Oh,
got stuck
Tuxedo
watching
Mask was
it-
super cool. He was
You're
so
both-
pimp, and he was totally pimp too, because he's like, "Hey, Serena, what's up?"
You're both wrong, and you both have dirty mouths. I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan.
I don't. Okay, when I was a kid, you're right. It came on before Dragon Ball Z. It was like the action hour,
Yeah.
and like, and it was also the Ronin Warriors. The Ronin
Yes, I
Warriors.
was getting
came
ready
on.
to say Ronin Warriors.
It was like Sailor Moon, Ronin Warriors, then it was Sailor Moon DBZ, and you're like, and it was the situation
All
of
right, I guess I'll watch.
because I can't drive, I can't do anything, and you're like, all right, I'll watch Sailor Moon, and then we'll go.
Nope,
Right.
nope, you know what, I
Okay,
wasn't
I guess
watching
I'll
Sailor Moon.
begrudgingly watch this amazing cartoon. But like,
I distinctly remember watching Sailor Moon as a child, and the two lesbians appeared in it. And I
Oh,
remember
no.
watching it with my mum, and I was about 7 years old, trying to figure out if those two girls were lesbians or not.
they
And-
are.
Whatever. And then I've watched the Japanese one, that God knows how many times over now. But it's like, oh yeah, why would you even try and say they're cousins?
Oh yeah. It's like you got them because in America we didn't get them until way later, and then they were like they're cousins and they're just really friendly.
Really friendly.
That came way later. Like
Yeah.
after the first season, they were like, okay, how are we gonna work this? But anyway, we're going off topic. But I just wanted to say I really like that show. But I really dug that Madoka Magica Girl show because I was like, wow, it takes the magical girl concept and like turns it on its ear. And it takes like these core like pop anime concepts and makes it into something really interesting. I really thought that was
Well, with that one, I got stuck with it weird because I'm very picky on my anime.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
anime goes in a very weird direction very easily. So
Yes.
to get me to want, like, I will watch them all, but I need to have like quite a few sources telling me, no, like Attack on Titan. I held off on that until everyone was like, look, it's the coolest thing ever. You need
Right.
to watch this. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist, I watched the original subtitle version before they translated the whole thing.
nice.
But Magic and I never could say. Yeah, whatever. The Magical Girl one. I was like, no way I'm watching a show about a 9-year-old girl who gets magical princess powers and does whatever. And my buddy's just like, he's like,
It's
okay, he's like,
not
watch the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
If you get out of the first 3 episodes and you don't want to watch more, then I will leave you alone and I will give you $100. I'm like, I'm gonna make $100.
And like, I love watching the 3rd episode with people because it gets towards the end of the episode and you can see them going, I'm not gonna watch anymore. I'm not gonna watch. And then the thing happens, and then they just go,
What?
Oh my god!
Yeah, that is a mind bender. I was like, that was cool. Like that, I had an enormous amount of respect for that. I also like, and of course, we're gonna move on from anime, I think, but really quick, Cowboy
We
Bebop.
should start an Anime Explain channel, Rob.
Nope, not happening.
Great
I'll
idea.
explain Dragon
You'll
Ball
see
Z.
it on TV Little House in a week.
Yep.
Anime Explained, starring Tiffany.
You can't steal it. I came up with it. All right, go.
Okay, well, it's mine now.
It's mine now.
But I'm taking Faust and we're gonna go do it. Faust,
Okay.
we're making Anime
Oh well,
Explain.
then never mind. You know what? Dibs on Fast.
No, it's no. I was never watching Sailor Moon. Like I was watching like Legends.
Yo,
of the
I was
Hidden
never
Temple.
watching Sailor Moon.
No, man. Like
That's
okay.
fair.
Here was my thing. All right, I got home from school. Well, school got out at about 3:20. I got home at around 3:40, maybe closer to 4 o'clock. All right, I was watching like Legends of the Hidden Temple, Rocko's Modern
yes.
Life, if it came on. I was watching because like Rocko's Modern Life wouldn't come on consistently. Like it would come on and they would show a couple episodes and like it wouldn't come back for a week. And then
Yeah,
I was watching like Doug, and then it was Dragon Ball Z, and then I'd do my homework, and then it was WCW and WWF is what it was. Like that was my shit. That was my jam.
Yeah, dude, Legends of the Hidden Temple. We should
Oh,
do
dude.
it. We should do a classic Nickelodeon
Stop!
Explained.
You always make us
We
sound
should.
so freaking old every
We should
episode.
do a
You're like,
classic
you guys remember that
Nickelodeon
show from the
Explained.
80s?
You know what's amazing? Hey, people in the chat, if you YouTube Legends of the Hidden Temple, every episode.
Every episode is on there, and there's the one episode of that one girl who spent 2 minutes trying to put together the Shrine of the Silver
That's
Monkey.
every episode. By the way, there's a great Roku channel called Nick Rebooted, where it's just if you have get your Rokus, everybody, and set up your your Nick Rebooted channel, because it's literally like having Nickelodeon on, and it will throw on like old commercials between the old shows,
Yeah.
but it'll show them like in a order that makes sense. So like it'll be Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then it'll be like whatever, something cool like Nick Arcade.
Oh god, Nick Arcade, man, playing
Nick
those crappy
Arcade was
games,
awesome.
those shitty
you know-
games.
For the record, I'm just going to throw this out there, guys. I think we've proven that we don't have to always discuss comic books on this podcast because everyone's watching and totally going along with us. They're like,
It's also
sweet! Sword Art Online!
Totally
Classic
Classic
Nickelodeon!
Hentai Explained. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
Oh my... Hentai Explained. Okay, which one of you three wants to do that channel with me?
man,
Ass.
fuck that noise.
Dibs on Yaoi Explained.
But no, okay. So,
Explained from Faust.
so
All right,
you
we got
know-
this, Mouse. We got
That
this
is a
plan.
show. That is a money making idea.
It is.
Man.
So you know how they used to film Legends of the Hidden Temple, right? Like you know why it got so screwed up? Okay.
Why?
So the reason why kids could never solve the puzzle of the Shrine of the Silver Monkey is because like 12 hours would have passed between the time they started it and the time they finished it. Like they would bring in like 4 or 5 groups of kids, and everybody would do like the first part, like where they would cross the moat, and then
Yeah,
everybody would do the second
you
part.
you lost a lot of people in the moat.
Dude, man, there were a lot of men that went down in the moat. But and it was always that one stupid kid, like that one kid who's like I just can't stay on these things. Like how difficult is it?
I
Like,
can't stand on the boogie board and hold the rope at the same time.
All you have to do is hold the damn thing and move
Yeah.
across. Like how difficult could it really be?
You know what? That kid
Once again,
did?
they
He
were
took a
losing me,
dive.
Faust. Save me, Faust.
That kid
Save
took a
me.
dive with a Huffy bike.
Yeah, but
Give you a Huffy
nonetheless,
bike if you kill yourself.
so they would do it all in sections. So by the time you finish, like if you were the first team to go, and you crossed the moat, and let's say that for whatever reason, like the Silver Snakes won because they always do because the thing was
No,
rigged.
the Silver Snakes
And-
never win. The Red Jaguars that were pimped.
Yeah, the Red Jaguars are pretty pimp. But anyway, if you were the first one to cross the moat, then it would be like 11 hours later by the time you got to the temple run, if you made it. And
Yeah.
so like this one kid, he was I guess he was on the show before when he was a kid, and he did like an AMA on Reddit, and he was like he explained the whole thing. He's like that's why, because like your adrenaline's running and you're exhausted, and so you just can't you can't figure it all out. But I still don't understand that concept. Adrenaline running my ass. All right, you've got 3 pieces. You got a base, you got a
3
middle, and you got a
pieces.
head.
No, you know what? I will vouch for that because recently, because I'm trying to get in better shape before we start joining these conventions in the summer and crap. I switched up my routine from just doing like lifting to doing like CrossFit. And like I can straight lift no problem like 250 pounds. But if I do CrossFit and then go try to bench like 120, and I'm like, why is this not working? There's no way that this has gotten heavier.
Yeah, and I could say, like, because I do gymnastics, it depends on how, like, if your adrenaline's running, there is no way that you're going to be doing rings because they are going to be swinging all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But it was I don't know, like it's you know I miss that show. So, one of my favorite things before we move on, one of my favorite things
Again,
was
there's
how
nowhere to
these
move on.
kids-
Just keep going.
one of my favorite things are everybody in the chat who remembers Legend of the Hidden Temple. You guys remember this?
And if you don't watch
kids, a lot of those kids were just stupid. Like Old Mac would be like, "Here's the story," and he's like, "Okay, now here's a question about the story," and they're like,
it was
and like
3 paragraphs, kid.
and they don't know. Blackbeard had like a black beard and he sailed on a ship and like he went to this location and so they're like, okay, cool. And so he's like, what's the location Blackbeard went to? And they're like, and there'll just be something totally out in left field. It's like, you moron, he just told you what it was. like how difficult could it be to just regurgitate what it was that he said? Like, I don't know. Like they were just a bunch of stupid kids. And like every episode, the grand prize was a trip to space camp.
Or Colonial Williamsburg.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was like, hey, congratulations, you get to do your homework. Go to your grandma's house.
We didn't have Legend of the Hidden Temple here. We had a different version called Raven, where the kids had to go to a training camp before they were even allowed to be on the show.
Wow.
What? F that noise.
Yeah, man.
You know, funny side note, since we're here, I got a good. Does anyone remember the show Fear Factor back in the day?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember Tyrone Biggums was on an episode of Fear Factor. No, that was Dave.
Universal Studios had an exhibit there. It was Fear Factor Live, and it was like once a week or once a day or whatever. You could go sign up and be on it.
Oh, cool.
Between when I was on vacation from Iraq while I was overseas, you get 2 weeks to come back home. I went down there and I got on it. They put me on the show, and that stuff is the craziest thing you've ever got to do. Like, I mean, back then when I was in peak shape because I was overseas and I was, early 20s and actually, doing stuff consistently and didn't eat cheeseburgers every night, But, like, the first tasking was just to do, like, at this point I was doing, like, 25 to 30 pull-ups, no problem. And the first thing you had to do was just hold yourself on a bar while they blew fans at you in rain.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Right, so I had a video. It's long gone now, but it's funny because like I can do things no problem, but within like 20 seconds I fell off of that thing. Now everyone else fell off before me on that one, which is funny. I was like the third guy, and only the last one got voted off. And then the second task was you had to swing on like this giant swing thing while throwing octopuses at another guy trying to catch them in a bucket.
Welcome to America, Faust.
Yes.
I remember Fear Factor, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, that was the preliminary.
The Universal Studios version, but the coolest thing ever, and this is where the story goes about the adrenaline thing and losing track of what's going on and all that other stuff. The last thing you had to do was you had to run around the arena first. Like you had to run on the outside, run back in, and once you're inside, you then had to get onto a car that would then raise up and above everything, like 3 stories high, and you had to crawl around the car getting keys that were hooked on the hood, the trunk, and the doors, unlock the trunk, get a fake missile launcher, and then launch it and actually hit a target. It was like a Nerf, Nerf or nothing.
Right.
But
awesome.
like you'd be like, oh, that's no problem. Because they had the cord on you too. You were gonna fall off the cart,
Oh, yeah.
You'd be like, oh, that's the easiest thing ever. No, it's not. You're exhausted. You got people cheering for you. You got all these lights going on, and you're dangling over everything, and your adrenaline's going 90 miles an hour, and you're like, all right, I just gotta get the key up front, and I gotta go to the back, and I gotta do this, and I got okay, here we go. It's suffice to say, I actually won. It was
nice.
So yeah, and it was funny because the prize was free tickets back to Universal Studios for the year. I never came back for the year.
Oh, they knew that. They knew that. They were like, sweet, here you go. Here's something you'll never use.
But yeah, now that kind of stuff, you get crazy, and you're just
you
like,
could still put togeted that effing monkey. It's 2 pieces and a head with a stick on it.
Yep. Now, see, they needed to like redo that show and make it for like adults. But here's a problem you would have: like you would have a situation where they would bring on like some dude, all right, from like the hood or from like a trailer park, or somebody where like life is rough, and he's going to go through the obstacle course, and a temple guard's going to come out, and he's going to just deck the guy, and just keep on going.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
like,
I've seen that. Where, like they reach for the kid, and the kid's like, "No!" and you're like,
he almost got knocked out.
a little insurance problem there. But
I think if they're going to do a show like that, they should pair up 6 people from totally different walks of life that have never met each other. Like, dude from a trailer park, a drag queen.
You already hit a good combo.
it's a show.
Yeah, like they call that the real world.
I thought that was Big Brother. 6 people from different walks of lives in one house.
No, but then you make them do things. You put them someplace and like give them like you starve them for 3 days and then give them 1 chicken wing and see what happens.
Oh, like my sister, my sister's obsessed with Big Brother, and I asked her like, okay, like how do they make that work? And she was like, oh, like she's like when you're in the house, like the dwelling, whatever it is, like there's no TV, there's nothing to distract you from like the other people around you.
From these people.
Yeah, and like you have to interact, and it causes controversy. And I'm like, man, why don't they just like beat the hell out of each other? Like why doesn't one guy just like beat the hell out of another guy? And she was like,
Because they got people there. There's people all over the place.
She's like, well,
Because there's security going through the walls.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? Like sometimes it's worth it. Like I saw that there was a show.
All right, I'm going to test this theory. I'm going to fund it. YouTube comic book channels in a house for a month with 1 chicken wing. We'll see what happens.
Oh shit, man!
It's not happening.
That chicken wing's gonna get eaten by me. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna wake up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And
What's
eat
that, Fels?
I'm already putting bets on mine and Amy Dallon's alliance. I've never met her, never talked to her, but I just feel like...
Are you kidding me?
You just feel like it'll link up. You guys will be good to go.
You two would be like... Have everybody here played the Simpsons arcade game?
Oh yeah, man. We're like you ride around
You
with
take
the
characters, you put them
skateboard.
together, and they do a combo move. You and Amy Dallon be the Bart and Lisa move, where you hold hands and you just yell at everybody.
I could see myself getting kicked out of the house day 1 because I'd probably just walk around the whole house just interrupting everyone as they try and talk. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, hey Sal, like how you doing? Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
It's me, Benny.
Benny, what are you doing here?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. You know what? I would like. You know what? All right. I would see that the comic book YouTubers in a house somewhere. So who? Like, go down the list. Ask the chat. Who are we missing from the house?
Well, no. Here's the kicker, though. Here's the truth. The truth is, unless it was staged like issues, the comic book YouTuber house would just turn into all of us reading comic books and not talking.
Because we weren't allowed to have comic books.
Yeah, no
Oh,
comics.
see, that would be the end of it then.
That would be the end of it. Like, oh, we did. Well, no,
Then it
then we
would
just
just
sit
be-
around and talk about comics.
That'd be great. Because it'd just be Rob going like, "So here's what happened, guys," and I'm going, "Yeah, I know."
All of us is standing around just being like,
Hey guys,
like,
I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna explain the X-Men to you.
Story about Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
I
read
remember.
That would divide into people that prefer the X-Men and people who prefer the Avengers, and we would recreate Avengers versus X-Men. Then the Phoenix would come into existence because we're that bored.
So much rage. Oh my god. All you have to do is just say, "Mayday, Parker." Thoughts? It'll completely destroy everybody.
And
Because,
I'd
like-
be over in the corner being like, does anybody like the Justice League?
Yeah, exactly.
God, I could imagine that. Like,
We would have Comic Drake, Comic Book Girl 19s getting mentioned. Well, she'd be interesting. She'd be in her corner doing her own thing, ignoring everyone.
that
Cat.
shitty fucking robot that she has on her damn show.
Grace, Grace. Blah.
No, wait, hold on. You guys saying comic book cast? Do you mean all of comic book cast? Because that, like,
That's
we'd
like
have to
1,000 people.
Yeah, I'd say just like Joel and Armin. But,
Comic Island.
But no, like that would like I could see like if they advertised that, it would just descend into total madness because it would be like people just like totally losing their sanity is what it would look like. Like eventually like the season finale, like the series finale would be like Fast said, like Avengers versus X-Men, and then like a paper mache Phoenix comes down from the ceiling and it's like explodes into pieces, and then we're all like, I've got the Phoenix.
All of our artistic sides comes out. And
Yeah.
it was Sal in the corner making the Phoenix for the last month.
Suddenly one of us becomes a quick change artist, strips off her clothes and into a spandex dark Phoenix
my
outfit.
God.
I told you spandex works.
Well, yeah, you can't put leather underneath clothing. Then you're just like bulky.
Yeah.
I mean, to bring this whole thing full circle.
Yes.
Isn't that the purpose of comic book costumes? That's why it started as spandex. It was to be kept underneath other clothing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Like Batman in armor, Superman in armor, Flash in armor doesn't make sense because it doesn't fit underneath everything anymore.
Well, it's not like Superman went and was like, "Hey, oh my God, like Lois Lane's Lois Lane's falling from a building, and she's only got like 2 seconds before I can save her. Like, I better like take off my clothes and put on my Superman costume and then go fly." He's like, "Man, fuck that noise."
Flash
Rip that shit
literally does that. In the latest episode of the show, somebody was like about to die or get captured or something, and he's at home in his civvies, and he managed to change costumes and be there in a second.
Oh yeah.
Well, he moves at the speed of light, though. Like, he can get away with that. Like, Superman doesn't.
To be fair, they can't go about wearing their costumes because, like, if they were leather, because they'd have to wear like a trench coat, and they just end up going about like, "Hey, like, look under here."
Just run up on somebody and like,
Oh shit, I was in my costume.
I mean, like, I will say, that's one prop I will give to Amazing Spider-Man the movie, the first one, where he didn't immediately make a $200,000 like ribbed spandex, like not spandex, like whatever that like leather outfit that like Tobey Maguire had, where he's like, "Oh, I'll just draw Spider-Man perfectly, and then I'll come up with this like really expensive clear look costume that I made in my house." Like, you didn't do that. But like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, like he had like a hoodie and like a little Spider-Man mask. Like that worked. That's funny. Like that's cool. But then he of course had like the really expensive costume after that. So like, you know, that's my problem with
according to the Andrew Garfield one, and this is what I've always found funny about all those Spider-Man movies, and we should probably start closing it up after this. But as far as I can remember, aren't they all like he orders like luge suits and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like, he orders like full body suits, and every time he does it, I'm just thinking like, as soon as somebody saw their designed suit now altered in a Spider-Man outfit, wouldn't you
check
be
the
like,
orders.
yeah, who the hell ordered this? Because we don't sell that many of these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or how do we get a hold of him for product placement?
Yeah, exactly.
oh, and see, here would be the funny thing.
You look like a NASCAR driver that's tied and
Here would be the funny thing. Like, if all of us were living in a house, like in this reality show, like inevitably, like we would order pizza, and like the pizza guy would show up, and like Benny's gonna answer the door, wearing like the Nightwing outfit, and is like, "What's going on?" And like,
can I just say,
Sal will answer the door dressed as Harley Quinn.
yeah,
I did answer the door dressed as Flash once.
can I just say, Fast, you brought up King of the Nerds. Isn't it amazing the level, the change between seasons 1, 2, and 3 with how much Little Caesars has just enveloped that show? Where like it went from a sponsor like, "Hey guys, let's go get a snack. Oh look, it's Little Caesars Hot and Ready Pizza, only $5 a pizza," to the most recent episode that I saw, which I watch every once in a while, will be, "You win! Like, you've won the challenge! You get your own hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars." And then we spent a a significant amount of show where they just talk about it. They talk about the pizza they're eating from Little Caesars that was made 7 hours ago and has been waiting for someone to get. That's like how shameless has the show become.
Amazing. I can't believe the exact. They measured where those pepperonis needed to go. It was.
It's math. It's pizza math.
Oh, dude, that's just a science, man. Like you can't half-ass it, man. You got to be precise.
What you do is you make all your pizzas like a baker at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then when people order them, you just throw them in the microwave and then give it to them. Little Caesars business model.
This is why I'd be crap on King of the Nerds, because I don't actually like pizza that much. So they give me Little Caesars. Well, I just feel like it's bread with tomato and pizza on it, like tomato and cheese on it. That's all it is.
This is from the group that your country invented blood sausage. Is that correct?
I'm Scottish, so.
Oh, okay, fair.
So it is very Scottish.
My country invented haggis.
Yeah, haggis, and
haggis.
It's bread. Well, yeah, I guess it can't be as complicated as like a cardiovascular system that you boil, but you know.
Yeah, isn't haggis just like a bunch of shit crammed into like a sheep's stomach or something like that?
It's not a bunch of shit. It's like it's spices,
shit.
like thyme.
Specific shit. We don't know what it is.
It's their
all right, guys. I think we're the tangents.
No, wait a minute. I want to hear what haggis is. Okay? Explain haggis.
We'll explain haggis to you after this. We're gonna start closing up the show.
Explain haggis.
Fine.
We can talk about haggis later, Bob.
No.
If anybody on the show wants to know what haggis is,
Benny,
it's
stop.
called the wiki.
We have more people in the chat right now than we've ever had on an episode of the Weekly Poll, and we are talking about sheep's stomach boil.
If we're gonna keep going, perhaps we should talk comics.
All right, yeah, let's wrap it.
Okay, Squirrel Girl. Anyone been reading it?
Squirrel Girl.
You know what? The funniest part about this is We brought on NerdSync, talked comics the whole time, closed out with a comic discussion. We brought a comic book cast, we talked comics, latest news. We brought on Eris, talked comics, latest news. We bring in Faust, and we're talking about his hair,
Haggis.
about Forever 21, about old 90s TV shows, and Haggis.
Yeah, high
Haggis. I was
fashion.
gonna say, don't forget
hair.
about haggis.
And the kicker to this whole thing is, and this is what I find funny, is Faust even said he watched a couple of the previous episodes to be prepared for what he was going to get himself
He
into.
did his homework.
see, look. Like people in the chat are asking for haggis explained.
All right,
They want
just give
haggis
us haggis.
explained.
That's
What's
a
your
video in
favorite haggis?
itself.
Your
That is
favorite
a video.
recipe.
Your favorite recipe? Why are we talking about
So,
haggis?
Faust, I want to formally apologize on behalf of myself, Rob, and Sal for you entering into the weirdest episode of the Weekly Poll I think we've ever done.
True.
It's okay. I attract weirdness. It's probably my fault.
And see, like, it's okay.
my
See,
energy.
This is why the chat cracks me up, because it starts out like I want to hear what haggis, like I want to hear haggis explain, and so people are like haggis explain, and then it just like starts transforming. It takes on a life of its own, and people
Food
in the
explain,
chat
Kansas
just like
explain,
turn it
Aunt
into
May,
something
please.
else. Yeah,
Sheep stomach explained. Benny's hair is better. My hair is no.
That's exactly what I'm
Faust
talking
hair.
about.
My hair is going to turn into Faust hair, although I'll probably keep my dark locks. I don't
The chat
I don't know
just,
how
like-
it would look as Quicksilver.
the chat just transforms on its own. It takes on a life of its own. It's crazy.
So, guys, as usual, thank
We
you for
didn't get
joining
the
us.
haggis
Oh man,
I love it when you guys interrupt me, but that had to be the weirdest interruption ever.
Yeah.
we didn't get the haggis explained.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Oh, all right, guys. As usual, you guys know who we are. This is Faust. He is from ItsSuprEffective. He brings you history of videos where he goes over the history of characters, and he brings you his opinions on things like sexuality and comics, and he brings you on a lot of really interesting stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that we've learned a lot from ourselves. He's a part of the Weekly Poll website team, which is, by the way, theweeklypoll.net, where you can go and see his videos with all of our videos and chat with all of us on the forums. Bring all of these discussions, go over to the forums, and let's just see Haggis explained on the Comics Explained forum, preferably, because Haggis story, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
I don't know how you explain haggis is stuff in a sheep's stomach. Like,
You just explain the recipe. That's
yeah.
Oh, okay,
With that being
guys,
said,
stop
like,
with the
we're gonna
Haggis.
bring-
Stop with Haggis. Why
you brought it up.
It tastes
All right,
better
so-
than people think
Go
it
check
does.
out.
I'm interested. I would like to.
I've never had.
We don't have
haggis.
any Scottish restaurants. The closest thing I got is an Irish place. It's next door, but that's, and by close, I mean
Irish people are just Scottish people that could swim. I mean,
Oh wow!
You have pissed off a few people in the chat.
All right, I talk Haggis.
Like I asked that once. Like I asked an English guy. I was like, why do you got Benny left?
You left.
I was like, why do like English people hate like French people so much? And he was like, because they're French. I was like, okay, I guess that's reason enough.
do they hate French people?
That's the end. Like this one, like a guy.
Married to one.
God.
What the?
It's just
No, like people from England, not American people.
no.
Like, not Americans.
hate
Okay,
French
okay,
people
so give me the rundown on haggis. Like, give me an explanation
You-
on haggis.
Hold on.
You buy it in a shop and it tastes good. That's all I know.
Oh, really? All this build up and
You don't
and,
slay the sheep yourself?
No.
That is blowing my mind.
All right, guys. Here, I want to give you Haggis explained real quick. I just pulled it up on the wiki. Haggis is a savory pudding containing a sheep's pluck, which is their heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, spices, salt, and mixed with stock, traditionally encased in the animal's stomach. And nowadays it often has a artificial casing. According to the 2001 English edition of something I cannot pronounce to save my life, although its description is not immediately appealing, haggis has an excellent nutty texture and deliciously savory flavor.
Well said.
Is that
I'll
it?
take
Is
your
what I
word
got?
for it.
So if I ever
does-
see any of you at a convention, I'll just come along with haggis.
Oh, that'll be great.
Does that even travel well? Can you do that?
I'll make it travel well if it knows what it's good for.
If it knows what's good
If you
for.
were wondering, black
no.
pudding, commonly known as blood pudding, is a type of blood sausage typically eaten in Britain, Ireland, Sweden, Estonia, and Latveria. Yeah.
Latveria. By the way, if you go to theweeklypoll.net and you go to our general chat, there is already a thread called Haggis Explained. Where you can give your favorite recipes.
I gotta check this out.
All right, so why don't you check it out? Let me close this out. All right, guys. So Faust is a part of the Weekly Poll team. He does not join us often on the podcast, but he is always welcome back. Faust, as weird as this was, it had to be one of our better episodes, and I think
It
we
was such a
all
pleasure
love
having
having you. Okay. But overall, you guys need to go check us out at theweeklypool.net. Next week, we will be here on Rob's channel still, and we will be for the following couple of weeks afterwards, but we will be moving over to a live stream service soon. And once we get it corrected, this podcast will be located on iTunes and SoundCloud. As usual, I'm Benny the Comic Historian. That is Sal TV Little House. That is Rob from Comics Explained. That is Faust from It's Super Effective. Another great channel you guys need to go check out. And that's it. I've done the closing. You guys can talk haggis all freaking night. Whatever you want to do.
Just drop the mic. Let Faust do it. You can close this out, man.
Yeah, you want to close it out, Faust?
You to play us out.
What?
All right, bye, guys. Oh, what?
What?
I love how everyone caught that. Dr. Doom, Ladverian Haggis.
Sounds awesome.
I mean, are we still
Yeah,
going?
so, all right, guys, so go check us out at theweeklypool.net. If you want to continue this conversation or any other conversations, go to the forums, sign up, chat with us. We're all checking our forums. Faust is the only one who's been slow, and I will take blame for that. I didn't tell Faust the website was live. So,
We have over 100 people registered in the forums right now.
yeah, and
Wow.
we've literally only been live for like 3 days, and we've done bare minimal promotion. So, if you want to chat about your comic books, or if you want to submit articles to our comic book entertainment threads, send them over to Sal at tvlittlehouse.com, Rob at marvelexplained.com, or comicstorian@gmail.com, because I'm too cheap to get my own email address.
They all go to me. Just email me.
They all get forwarded to Sal at tvlittlehouse.com. We are looking for contributors. We're looking for forum moderators. Anything. Just send us an email if you want to be a part of the website. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, guys. It is officially live. Faust is a humongous fan of it. He spends all day and night looking at it.
Endorsed by Faust.
Endorsed by Faust.
You know,
Done and done.
the podcast I found out about the website I found out about an hour ago.
Yeah.
No, for the
Faust will
record,
approve.
you found out it was live an hour ago, but you did agree to be a part of it in December, so...
I think it was even November.
I don't want people to be like, did they just add Faust and not even tell him?
Oh, he'll figure it out.
We should just do that. We should just add like people like Comic Book Girl 19. Just throw them on.
Somebody will be like, hey,
you know,
like,
you,
do
you
know?
agreed to this. You're part of the group. Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, no, you did.
You're gonna be on the podcast.
Robot's been really
Yeah, Kevin
lazy.
Smith's on the show now.
Kevin Smith's in the show.
All right, guys. So that's it. Rob, why don't you play us out and end the podcast here?
Yeah, play us out.
Like, I don't know. Like, boom.
Means to end the show. Yeah.
Thanks for coming to the weekly poll.
Okay, anyway, yeah, we're going to bring
End
this
the
podcast to an
show!
end, guys.
God's sake.
Before it gets any worse, like, we got to end it. We'll catch you guys later.
Yeah.
Peace.